everyone, welcome back to Maverick Mods. Finishing up on Alex's Mustang this week. Well, trying to finish up on Alex's Mustang this week. And no, we're not working on the Studebaker in the background. That's just in the background. So let's see. For those of you who have not seen anything about this Mustang I've been helping out with, there's a link, well, one of these corners, whichever one it is, for what I'm calling the parking lot paint job. Alex is a young Marine stationed at the local air station out here. Came to me a few months ago just needing help. He originally came because he wanted some welding, little spot patch welded on the fender of his Mustang, and things just escalated from there. So basically the car needed, well, he'd kind of been taken to the cleaners several times by, backwoods body shops that he paid a significant amount of money, and the end result was, well, look at the previous videos. The end result was not pretty. So decided to take a little pity on Alex and just help him out. I mean, sometimes this Mustang was his first car. He bought it when he was 16. He's trying like crazy to keep it running and keep it looking good. And other body shops didn't do him any favors. So I've been trying to accomplish two things. One, to try and get him a paint job that for what we have to work with, he can be proud of. And two, to try and teach him a few basic techniques for doing body work and paint, so that maybe someday down the road he'll want to pursue and keep going with this Mustang, or maybe with another project of his own. At any rate, I think the last time we left off, we were priming and block sanding and priming and block sanding and adding body filler and priming and block sanding. And I think that's where we pick up on this video. So grab your popcorn, let's get started. We're getting closer to a final spray primer coat. Alex has just finished wiping everything down. We're just using Spray Away. It's a really good cleaner. It's alcohol-based cleaner. Mustang update. We are taped off. Got actually using trash bags around the wheels. I'm using the, I forget the brand of this, but this is electrostatic film for windows. Everything's taped off that we need to tape off. Got one last spot that needs just a little bit of cleaning, and then we're going to go through and hit it next with some microfiber towels to make sure that there's no spots that have any dust, anything left on it. And after that, some wax and grease remover, and then a tack cloth, and then we're going to be ready for primer coat.
Okay, don't sweep like that. Don't just keep the height all the way across. Okay? Okay, stop. See your overlap? See how you missed?
Oh yeah.
Okay, so go back over that. And right here, see how you started right here?
Yeah.
You missed it, okay? All right. Yep. A little slower. A little slower.
Okay.
Okay, hold on. Close your overlap up. Just look right here. Look in the light. See how you got cracks there? Okay. I'll fix that in a minute. Okay. Keep going.
It's the next morning, and hopefully what is going to be the final primer coat came out really good. I've got one or two spots that need some glazing putty, one or two spots that need a little bit of extra attention. Other than that, it's coming out really well. So our next step, we've got to untape it. We're going to get it outside, out of the paint booth, and start hitting it with 400 grit, do some wet sanding. I'm going to set you up for a little wet sanding. I'm going to show you two different techniques. You figure out which one you like better. One is with the sanding block, and of course this is only going to work on flat surfaces.
Yep.
The other one is sand by hand. Whichever one you like better and feels better to you, well, you can go with that. And so basically, you are supposed to soak your paper. Unfortunately, I didn't do that, but it'll get soaked soon enough. So that you've got your spray bottle. Try the sanding block at first. Go on and start anywhere you want. Start on the roof if you want.
Okay.
That's good, because all the water will run downhill.
Yeah.
And what we're trying to do here, keep the surface wet. And what you're trying to do basically is you're just trying to actually just do it one-handed, so it's actually better. What we're trying to do is we're just trying to sand it smooth and even and give it a good tooth for the next coat, be it primer or paint. Now the one thing about the sanding block, and the reason I prefer hand sanding, it takes a little bit more to master, but I get a better feel through the paper on my fingers. It's just strictly a technique thing. Now you can kind of feel where the paper stops grabbing and starts gliding?
Right, like right here it's gliding.
That's when you stop.
Okay.
But always make sure just every time hit it with lots of water. Because you don't want it to dry out, because then it clumps on the paper.
All right. Just waited for it to rain.
Okay. Now if you want to try hand sanding, when you do it by hand, try and use the heel of your hand, not your fingers. Because your fingers can gouge. With this grit of paper, it's kind of, I always thought it was kind of iffy. I guess it's possible, but try both and see which way you like better.
Sure.
You gotta kind of grip the paper. So kind of hold it with your thumb.
Yeah.
There you go. Yep.
Oh yeah, this feels a lot better.
See, that's why I like hand
You
sanding.
can tell immediately. I mean, even with the palm.
That's what I say. You get a better feedback through your hand. And the idea here is we're not really taking material away. All we're doing is we're smoothing it, but we're also giving it the tooth for the next bit of either prime or top coat.
It really doesn't take a lot.
No, it doesn't. All right. I will grab some sandpaper and help you.
All right.
That round of wet sanding might be it. It might not. After finishing all the wet sanding and cleaning everything up, we did find a few spots, as you can see, just a little bit here and there. A few spots on the hood there. Fender came out good. Got a couple of spots over on the hood. We fixed those with a little glazing putty. And everything looks pretty darn good. The deck lid's a lost cause, we know that, but we're doing the best we can with that. Other than that, I'm going to go through and do a little bit more cleaning. Actually, a lot more cleaning. Do some spot priming on just a few areas where we got a little bit of burn through the bare metal. And I'm going to take a really close look at this and see if I can't do a sealer coat and then paint. But I need to finish cleaning and then tape. So let me get that done. We'll take a look at it after that. Let's talk about paint for just a minute. And guys, keep in mind, I'm not a chemist. I'm not a professional painter. What I actually know about paint, you couldn't fill a shot glass full of it, a thimble, a quarter of a thimble maybe. But here we go. First car I ever painted back in would have been the early 80s, back in high school. It didn't turn out well. The second car I painted, well, it didn't turn out much better. And over the years, I've improved and gotten better, and you know, that's kind of the way it works. But back then, urethanes were just hitting the market and couldn't afford that. So we just used what we could afford at the paint store, which was back then enamels. Single stage urethanes came out, and then two-stage paints, which are still urethanes, came out, which is kind of what we're using today. And that's what I prefer to use because well, there's a number of different reasons, but doesn't mean I can't do an old school enamel paint job, which is what we did with Alex's car. To give you an idea, this is a quart can, but we use gallon cans. But this is what we used right here. It's Rust-Oleum Farm Implement paint. It's an oil-based enamel. I think it works out to about $60 a gallon or so at Tractor Supply. Not a sponsor. And it works fine. Primer was same stuff, except it's Rust-Oleum Farm Implement primer. Again, we use it in gallon cans. I just used up the gallons and tossed the cans out. As far as thinners or reducers, whatever you want to call it, there's a couple different things you can do. Of course, you've got enamel reducers, you've got mineral spirits, you've got paint thinner. I had seen a couple of videos where people have used this paints where they used acetone. And I'm thinking, you know what? Why not? Let's give it a try. And I did, and it worked. But I'm going to do a little caveat on that. It worked, but I probably won't do it again. And the reason is because the solvents, aka in this case the acetone, tended to evaporate a little bit too quickly for my liking. If it had been a little bit slower, I think the paint might have laid even smoother, although it did turn out good. As far as ratios, again, this is not a video about how to paint your car with Rust-Oleum. There's tons of videos out in YouTube land that show you how to do that. But in this case, in both times, I did a 2-to-1 ratio paint to acetone, and it worked out fine. That's pretty much it. Back to the action. All right, it's crunch time, guys. I just finished spot priming the areas that we put glazing putty on yesterday and sanded. It's time to get serious. It looks good enough. I'm thinking I can do a sealer coat and then color. As I said before, the primer that we sprayed on before was a 2-to-1 ratio primer versus acetone. Came out really beautifully on the Black Widow HVLP gun. Now, with the sealer coat, I'm not really looking for any kind of coverage on the primer. I've got that. I don't want to build up the primer, but what I want to do is I want to create both a good mechanical bond and a good chemical bond. So the mechanical bond is with the sealer coat, and that's just kind of a final overall. It'll just kind of smooth out the last of the little tiny sandy scratches, hopefully some of the last minor imperfections. What I'll do with the sealer coat is I'll take the same primer. There's nothing special about sealer. It's just thin primer. I'm going to take the same primer. Instead of a 2-to-1 ratio to acetone, I'm going to do a 1-to-1. It's going to go on super thin. And just a little bit more of the acetone will help that sealer coat bite into the existing sealer. And that'll give me a good mechanical bond, hopefully, or excuse me, a good chemical bond as deep as I can get. You have not seen me in a painting suit yet. This is a full body paint suit. Prior to everything we've done, anything that I've sprayed on basically has been sanded. You've only seen me put primer on, and everything is going to be sanded. So I hadn't been too terribly worried about contaminants. Now it gets serious, because if everything goes well with the sealer coat, color's going to go on as soon as it flashes. So what I've got to do, here's something that I didn't realize for a long time. A lot of the trash that gets in the paint, you think, oh, that's dust, that's bugs. Well, bugs are different. That's dust, that's this, that's this. Probably 80 or 90% of it comes off of your clothes. That's why I'm wearing the painting suit. And a lot of times you'll see me wear a hat when I've got my respirator on. Some of it comes out of your hair, and that just winds up airborne. That's what I'm trying to prevent. So paint suit's on. I'm waiting for the spot prime to dry. I'm gonna go back in, mask up, do the sealer coat, and mask up, do the sealer coat. I'm gonna let it flash. I'm gonna lightly tack that, and then I'm not gonna bore you with another coat of primer, but I'm gonna set the camera up outside the paint booth this time when I do the color. So that's where I'm headed. Well, you guys watched me put the first coat on. I went back, did a second coat. It looks pretty good. Got no runs, no drips, no errors. I think I did Alex a little bit better than a 20-foot paint job so far. It's looking at least 10 foot. It might be a little bit closer than that. It has some areas that we knew about. that we just flat were not going to fix. But beyond that, you know, for $60 paint, it turned out pretty darn good. I do have a little bit of trash. I'm still working on trying to sort out the ventilation and the filtering for the air coming in, but we can buff that out, not a problem there. Now at the paint's dry, through the magic of video editing, car's untaped. Let's take another quick walk around. One of the things I do need to do in the booth is I need to work on the lighting down low. It's a little bit tough painting down here. Things you learn. That quarter we did all the repair work on turned out really good. Still need to work on untaping the trunk there, but we'll get to that. What's next? We've got bumpers, front air dam, rear spoiler, mirrors, and the hood scoops yet to paint. So car will probably sit in the booth for a day or two, let the paint harden up just a little bit. We've got some weather going on the next couple of days, so no need to put it out in the weather yet. Once that's done, then I'll get the rest of the parts in, get those painted, and we can start reassembling. We've still got a few parts left to put on, but we're waiting on parts, door handles, things like that. But for the most part, I promised Alex a 20-foot paint job. So that's 20 feet away. Let's do a walk around at 20 feet and see what it looks like. I think I'm still 20 feet away-ish. Yeah. All right, I think I did a little bit better than 20 feet, so we're going to bring it into about 10. Another walk around at 10. Might have been a little inside 10 at that point. What do you think, guys? More importantly, what do you think, Alex?
I think it'll do.
All right.
I think so.
Okay. Well, I'm going to send him on his way for now. We've got some parts on order. I should say he's got some parts on order that are going to take a little while to come in. We're going to let the paint cure for a little bit longer. A few spots I want to just hit with the buffing wheel. I will say this, it looks a whole lot better than when it showed up the first time. So you will see the Mustang again. There are parts that are going to come in. Got some trim to put back on, things like that. So for now, like I said, I'm going to send him on his way, and you will see the Mustang again. Well, that's going to do it for this week, guys. Got Alex's car painted, and you know what? For what we had to work with, and what he could afford, and what I could afford to donate, and you know, because I donated materials and time and things like that, I think it came out pretty good. Like I said, my original intent was to give him a 20-foot paint job, it's 10 feet or better. And considering what we had to work with the shape of the original body, and the fact that it needs some replacement body panels, and it just flat wasn't in the budget, I still think it turned out pretty good. You're going to see Alex's Mustang probably in about a month or so. I want to give the paint, like I said, about a month or so, just to let it harden up a little bit, so we can get a buffing wheel to it, and we can install some of the parts that are still on order that have not shown in yet. He's got some trim pieces and door handles and things like that. So you will see it one more time. I'm trying to talk him into getting some mufflers and tailpipes so that we can actually put a real exhaust system on it. Maybe when you see it next, we can do the exhaust system as well. Sorry I missed putting out a video last week. Had family issues, things you just have to take care of. But I certainly do appreciate everybody tuning in every week. Hope to see you guys next week. Next week we're going to be back on the Firebird. And here pretty soon you might actually see the Studebaker behind me. Who knows? Let's see what. Please like, share, subscribe. Like, share, subscribe. Note. You guys know the drill. We'll see you guys next week. Everybody, have a great day.